I was in a chat earlier and I brought up a topic that someone said they were not familiar with. And since they said that, I figured, maybe a lot of people haven't heard of this before, so why not do a quick video on it? In 1984, the year of my birth, Madonna did a song, Like a Virgin, which released on Halloween, of all days. And the music video for Like a Virgin takes place mostly in Venice, but for some reason opens with this shot. Notice the huge moon right there by the Twin Towers. Very overpowering in relation to the World Trade Center. And why does it even start in New York to begin with? Because we immediately jump to Venice. It doesn't show her traveling to Venice or anything. We just immediately transport there. So there we have the lion, or the Leo. And of course, Madonna means the Virgin Mary. A picture, statue, or medallion of the Madonna, typically depicted seated and holding the infant Jesus. Now, why would you name yourself this? Especially a disgustingly demonic creature like her. Now, the whole video is basically implying that she is going to marry the Leo. A marriage between her, the Virgin, and the lion, the Leo. And really, the song title in the video in general is really a mockery of the Virgin Mary. That's why it's called Like a Virgin. I mean, especially with Madonna's name. And again, despite her and the lion being in Venice, this is the final shot or sequence of the video. Now, why all the World Trade Center symbolism? Of course, we know that the first plane, so-called plane, supposedly struck the Twin Towers at 8:46 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on 9/11. And you know it happened during the daytime. So how do we find out what the sky looked like on 9/11? We go to Stellarium, and I went back to the date right there, see? 9/11, 8:46 a.m. 2001. So this is what the sky was like on that date. So at 8:46 a.m. on 9/11/01, the moon was right by the Gemini twins. And remember, the opening of the music video has the moon very obtrusively hovering right over the Twin Towers. And where was the sun at this time? Right between Leo and the Virgin, Virgo. In fact, you can take off the pictures again. Leo, Virgo, Madonna, the Lion, the Sun right between them. And way up here at the top, the Moon right next to the Gemini twins. And remember, there was that Hurricane Aaron that they steered away from New York City that day to have their sunny blue skies. But you know, these people have been doing things by the stars and the moon and the sun for forever now. A big part of their rituals. This is no coincidence. And that is why Like a Virgin features the Twin Towers the way it does. It's a roadmap to the sky on 9/11/01. Now, this is one that I've been somewhat hesitant to go into because I know it can sort of be considered a cheat. But anyone who knows gematria knows about the rule of Kalel. The Kabbalistic rule of Kalel states that one digit can be added to or subtracted from the gematria value of a word without affecting its value. In fact, it even says right here, this seems to be a cheat to the modern ears. However, the Kabbalists explain the rule by pointing out that for them, 1 was not a number. So really, if anyone watching, let me know in the comments if you want me to continue using this or not. But anyway, with Like a Virgin, if you use the rule of Kalel, this could be a 116 for your upside down 9/11. Also worth noting that in 2023, Like a Virgin was selected for preservation in the United States National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress due to it being considered culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Give me a break. But yeah, 2023 of all years for your 322 Skull and Bones. I mean, don't make me gag. And here we have a close-up that shows that Jupiter was actually in between the twins on 9/11. Important because Jupiter represents Zeus. Because Zeus and Jupiter are essentially the same god, with Zeus being the Greek name and Jupiter being the Roman name. Which brings me to Die Hard with a Vengeance. Look at the name of Samuel L. Jackson's character here. Zeus. I'm not really a fan of this series, but I do know that the first one takes place in LA, and this one is in New York. I mean, what can I say? I've never liked Bruce Willis, and I've never liked Samuel L. Jackson either, for that matter. And look here in that movie. It's hard to see because of the quality of the image, but that Samuel L. Jackson basically right between the Twin Towers in the background. Zeus in between the twins. I'll play it and see if it goes a little more clarity. Anyway, hopefully that was visible. And of course, most people don't mention that September 11th, 1941 is when construction started on the Pentagon. I mean, come on. Now this brings me to Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. A very interesting film. Far more interesting than Michael Myers and all his boring nonsense.
The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red with the blood of animals.
Sacrifices. Witchcraft. That's Connell Cochran. He plays a warlock toy maker who makes masks using the power of Stonehenge to commit a mass sacrifice on Halloween via a TV signal that activates the Stonehenge chips in the masks. It's sort of like a 5G kind of thing in a way. Perhaps predictive programming for the frequency. Cochran was played by Dan O'Herlihy, born on May Day, and he's in Halloween 3, all about sacrifices and witchcraft. He is also in this film Fell Safe, which is about pilots who mistakenly think they've got a signal to go bomb Moscow, and the Pentagon is desperately trying to call them off with no success. And in the end, they do wind up bombing Moscow. Dan O'Herlihy's character is tasked with making it right by sacrificing New York City and dropping a nuke on it to avoid further war with Russia. Another sacrifice. And it is a very tense film. Great filmmaking all around. But again, I don't think it's any coincidence that the guy born on May Day is involved in these movies, specifically about sacrifice. And remember what I said about the stars, the sun, the moon.
It's time again. In the end, we don't decide these things, you know. The planets do.
Exactly. Now in this scene of Halloween 3, Cochran is giving the hero, Dr. Chalice, a demonstration of what's going to happen with the mass sacrifice. And look at the number on the monitor right here. 9:11 Mountain Time. Why would they pick this specific time? Get that 9:11 in there, of course. Also, just to do it, I added all the times up, and it equals 3844. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 4 is 16. So you would have your 614 and your 42. And this is the kid with the mask on watching the signal caused by the Stonehenge chip hidden in this. And there you have the brutal results as all manner of creepy crawlies come out of the kid's head, including out of the mouth. That old serpent. There's his head right there. A whole rattler coming out at one point, which strikes the kid's dad, killing him. A very grim movie. I remember when I was a kid, and I was absolutely fascinated by horror films at that age. And I'm not going to lie, I do still enjoy them. My mother told me specifically about this one and how it had absolutely nothing to do with Michael Myers, and it had to do with the killer masks and all that, and how bad it was. But honestly, I thought this was the most interesting one when I saw it. Still do. And wouldn't you know, Stacey Nelkin, who plays the love interest of our hero in Halloween 3, was born 9/10 in the year 1959. Currently 66 years old for the twin number. And the film, she is replaced with a robot and gets her head knocked off. Neck trauma. And it's also worth noting that fictional character Michael Myers has a birth date of October 19th, 1957. If you're backwards, 9/11. Remember, John Carpenter is quite connected as far as the codes and predictive programming goes. Remember, in They Live, the small group of people in the know are breaking through their signal, trying to wake up the sleeping masses. Well, after the homeless guy turns the channel, what do we see? We see this random bit of two towers falling. Now, what was that all about? I also wanted to mention this. Trump orders the Pentagon to start testing nuclear weapons on an equal basis with other countries. The last supposed nuclear test on U.S. soil was on a date with 143 numerology, September 23rd, 1992. And he made this announcement on a date with 84 date numerology. 143 plus 84 is 227. As I've stated many times on this channel, August 15th is the 227th day of the year, the date the WOW signal was discovered. And again, it connects to the Comet Atlas thing. And of course, the distance between that last nuke test and Trump's announcement is a year, 33 years. So very blatant. But anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and all glory to God.